If you've ever tried to step more fully into your own power, speak more truthfully, or lead your life more intentionally, you may have noticed that when you do, something inside you gets nervous, your body tightens, you start second-guessing yourself, or suddenly you feel the urge to explain your decisions to everyone around you. You may think this means that you are not confident enough, you have a low self-worth. It's actually your nervous system reacting to something much deeper. And this is where the idea of queen energy is often misunderstood. Because the real queen archetype was never about confidence, luxury, or becoming some kind of high-value woman. If you are new here, I teach how lasting change happens through the nervous system. Not just how to regulate your nervous system, but how to help it integrate new experiences, build capacity, and support real identity change. That's what this channel is about. It was about something much deeper. Sovereignty. And strangely, sovereignty is often built through resistance. If you are a person who feels a pull toward becoming more of yourself, more truth, more voice, more leadership in your own life, you may have noticed something else as well. The moment you start stepping in that direction, life often pushes back. People question you, old dynamics resist you. Sometimes even your own nervous system feels overwhelmed. Something inside you freezes or becomes anxious, or suddenly wants to soften your position to keep the peace. And it can feel like something is going wrong. But very often, this is actually the beginning of sovereignty. Because when life gets bigger, most of us don't fail because of strategy. We struggle because our system has not yet learned how to hold that expansion. And the very practical skill behind this work is something I call active spaciousness. The ability to remain present in your body while life becomes more intense, while more responsibility appears, more pressure, instead of contracting or abandoning yourself. And learning that skill became a turning point in my own life. The queen archetype is presumably very old. In archetypal psychology and in the symbolic language of human development, the queen represents mature, centered leadership energy. But the essence of this archetype was never really about status. It was about inner authority. And in very practical terms, sovereignty means something simple. Sovereignty is the nervous system capacity to remain inside yourself, with yourself, in presence, while the world pushes back. The moment where a woman or a man begins to feel, I belong to myself, I lead my life, I stand inside my own decisions, I do not abandon my center. Just because someone else is uncomfortable. That is sovereignty. And when a woman or a man begins stepping into that place, something interesting happens. Life starts testing the stability of that inner throne, not to punish us, but to reveal if that authority is performative or embodied. On social media, the idea of queen energy is often simplified. It becomes about confidence, attraction, high-value aesthetics, luxury lifestyles. But real sovereignty is much quieter than that. A sovereign woman or man doesn't perform power. She or he stands inside her or himself. There is a groundedness to this person, a steadiness. She or he doesn't chase authority, but embody it. And that embodiment is not created through image. It is created through capacity. Something I've noticed in my own life and in the lives of many women is that sovereignty rarely arrives all at once. Life trains you into it through moments where you have to stand by your own truth, through situations where people misunderstand you, through times where your path becomes clearer to you, but not necessarily to everyone around you. And every time that happens, life asks a quiet question. Do you still stand in yourself? Or do you abandon your center to make things comfortable again? Do you over-explain? Do you soften your truth? Do you become smaller so that the room can relax? Asking those questions, that is how sovereignty grows. Real queen energy has very little to do with dominance. It shows up as things like calm authority, clear boundaries, emotional steadiness, self-respect, the ability to lead your own life. Not because everything is easy, but because you remain centered inside yourself. Because you have learned how to stay in your body when there is pressure. You can stand inside the eye of the storm, and it doesn't take you away from yourself. That is what makes this archetype powerful. Not control, but regulated presence. And something important to understand is sovereignty often looks very ordinary from the outside. For example, in my own life, I practice sovereignty through long-term decisions, through investing, through building financial steadiness, through renovating my house slowly over time. These are not dramatic decisions, but they are intentional. Instead of chasing instant gratification, I make choices that compound over time, even if parts of my life still look very ordinary from the outside. I know I am building something, slowly and deliberately. And that too is a form of queen energy. And this is where the nervous system becomes essential, because sovereignty and the queen energy archetype is not just psychological, it is biological. When your nervous system feels unsafe, your body reacts. Fight, flight, freeze, fawn. You might become reactive. Over-explain yourself, collapse your own boundaries. Not because you lack of wisdom, but because your nervous system has not yet learned that it is safe to stand in your own authority. So, practicing queen energy is actually nervous system training. It's learning to stay steady inside yourself, even when life pushes you. Every archetype also has a shadow for the queen that can look like the controlling queen who tries to dominate everything, the cold queen who disconnects emotionally, or the inflated queen who believes she is above others. But the mature queen integrates something deeper, warmth and authority, presence and clarity, softness and steadiness. Queen energy is not about becoming someone else. It's about returning to the place inside you where you already belong to yourself. The place where you can just be yourself. And every time life asks you to stand a little more firmly in your truth, that inner throne becomes a little more real. If you recognize yourself in this, if you feel that pull toward becoming more of yourself, but your system sometimes contracts when life expands, then capacity is the skill to build. That's why I created something I call the 7 Nervous System Capacity Builders. It's a free guide with 7 small practices designed to help your nervous system slowly expand its capacity, not through pushing, but through small embodied steps that train your system to hold more life. You'll find the link in the description if that feels relevant for you. And in the next video, I'll go deeper into how to actually begin training your nervous system to embody queen energy in everyday life. I'll see you there.